Another couple came to me, and they said, John, you know, my house is on the auction block, and we've been trying a modification. There was nothing that Chase Bank was willing to do. They said, you know what, there's nothing we can do. We're going to sell your house. And I said, well, damn it, maybe there's something else. Maybe there's an alternative. So we sat there, and as we discussed, I started realizing there was more that went into the picture besides the foreclosure process. What gave rise to the foreclosure and some of their other debt problems, which I'll get to in a minute, was the wife was the main breadwinner in the home. She lost her job for 13 months. It's amazing they were able to survive without a job for 13 months. She's got a new job, makes good money, okay? She's a breast cancer survivor. She ran into a big rough patch with fighting cancer and then losing her job. She ran into a lot of back taxes because of some mistakes that an accountant made on their taxes, and they ran into a foreclosure situation. So as we sat and talked about it, I realized that their financial issues were myriad. Okay, there were multiple on different fronts: back taxes, foreclosure, credit cards, things of that nature. We filed their bankruptcy, stopped the foreclosure sale. We engaged in a repayment of all the mortgage arrears. And then, more importantly, in that Chapter 13 case, this is where it gets interesting. I looked more and more at that tax debt they had, okay? The $160,000 of back taxes. And they told me that we don't really owe it, and I said, well, I need to see proof of that. So we did the analysis. We figured out the accountant messed up their taxes, overstated their income by over $80,000, okay? Taxing authorities didn't care. They were coming after these people, okay? So I told John and Cindy, I said, look, let me look at this. We did the analysis. I filed an objection to claim to the Internal Revenue Service and to the Franchise Tax Board, okay? Provided some declarations, some examples about why the tax debt really wasn't owed. Sure enough, the judge agreed with me, disallowed the claim from the Franchise Tax Board altogether. They don't owe it, okay? It's amazing. Something a tax lawyer they hired years ago couldn't even get done after them paying the tax lawyer $15,000. They paid me $4,000, okay, to do the bankruptcy. I was able to eliminate the entire state tax debt. As for the federal tax debt, I cut that in half, and we're still actually working on some of that to see if we can cut it even further. But it came to me in a situation where, and as I mentioned earlier, tax debts need to be paid in full in your repayment plan. But it's up to you to prove to the court if there's a problem with the debt, if you can really contest the debt on the tax. I did, and having done that, it made it possible to allow them to stay in the Chapter 13 bankruptcy and to save their home. You know, what was so heartbreaking is that their home was on the auction block for foreclosure, but they have a bunch of equity in that house. So they would have not only lost the house, but all the equity they would have built up. And that would have been a tragedy. That's not going to happen. Why? Because they came to me, I fixed it. We sat in the conference room, we hashed through it. I spent a lot of time teasing through their problems, going through their finances, their problems. It's all taken care of. And it's probably going to get even better because I got a good chance of even whittling away some of that tax debt even further. But cutting that tax debt in half was nothing short of miraculous. It's going to take a lot off their back, and more importantly, it was the key towards enabling them to stay in the bankruptcy. Okay? So that's a good example of another couple that came to me that were on the brink, and who were on the brink because of medical problems, and because of lost employment, and because their lender didn't want to do anything. They didn't care. Taxing authorities, Ray Charles could have seen that this tax debt was erroneous, okay? FTB, IRS, they didn't care. Wasn't up to them, okay? And when I called them and told them, hey, listen, I've got solid evidence here. Are you really going to make me file this motion? They said, hey, no way. Filed the motion. Then they came to the table and said, you know what, you're right. And the judge saw it. The judge even thought I was a tax lawyer. That was the funniest thing. The judge thought I was a tax lawyer. But you know what it came down to? Hitting the books, really taking the time to help these people. That was the difference between me and the other people they ran into. They had some Stanford Law School graduates who were tax lawyers, did nothing. Literally squandered the good money they paid these professionals, alrighty? They paid another loan modification company to come in to try to find a solution for the foreclosure. They did nothing. It was a scam. It was really heartbreaking, you know. And they came to me and they said, John, you know, we've had some bad experiences, and when we talked, they said, you know, they looked in my eyes and they said, you know, you look like you're honest. You know, we think we're going to go with you. And I said, okay. And I told them, I said, you know, your tax problem's complicated. And they said, you know what, we're going to bank with you. I said, you know, you might want to go to a tax lawyer. They said, we did that once already. It went nowhere. But we like your integrity. We like your sincerity. And at the end of the day, I prevailed. I was able to get it done. They knew it all along. I didn't know it, but they knew it. So it was a real vote of confidence. It was a great story. It was a great learning experience on my part. And being able to help these people, you know, the people that survived breast cancer and who were unemployed for 13 months, who were on the brink, who had no way out. Now they're okay. It was really cool. Just to be, you know, colloquial here, it was a great thing to help them out. So that's another example of another couple.